amazing things that perhaps lost a bit of its way.
RIM does finally seem to be getting the message it needs to change. The question now is whether it's too late.
Which camera do I
Research in Motion shares, in fact, on Friday managed a 7% gain. They are still, as you can see from the chart, though, near 52-week lows, a long way to catch up. It's one of the 4 Ps of marketing and is taught in business schools around the world. We're talking about, of course, pricing, and the price of a product or service can really often mean the difference between success and failure in business. One entrepreneur is taking this idea online, assembling a panel of pricing experts at PricingProphets.com. Here to tell us all about how it works is Jon Manning. Jon, very good morning. Welcome to Tech Report. Thanks. Just tell us a little bit about why pricing is important, because we know it is. It sounds almost obvious.
I don't think it's important anymore. I think it's critical now. Pricing is the most effective way to improve the bottom line, revenue and profit, and it's far better than re-engineering volume, fixed costs or variable costs. On top of that, it's a statement of value, what you believe your product is worth, and it's an indication of quality as well. We've also got customers who are making more and more pricing-based purchasing decisions today, and increasingly competition, particularly in the online space, with disruptive business models and pricing models. And all this is affecting both B2C and business-to-business markets.
What are you finding as some of the different approaches that exist, some obviously better than others, but how are people currently doing it?
So the majority of companies are probably favouring cost-plus pricing, so they're working out their costs, adding on a margin and really crossing their fingers and hoping for the best. The problem with that approach is that not everybody pays you because of your costs. They pay you because of the value you deliver. The other approaches are to let the competition set your prices, match the competition, which is basically outsourcing your pricing to the competition. Let the customer what the market will bear. And then the approach we prefer is to use value-based pricing. So you try and quantify the economic value or qualify the perceived value of a product and service and monetise on that basis.
How does that change the price? Give us an example. What are we talking about? To talk about the economic value. What does that even refer to?
So economic value is particularly pertinent in B2B markets, where a company's product company's product or service can do one of 3 things. It can increase their revenue, reduce their cost or minimise their risk. And most of those factors can be quantified, and you use that as a basis for determining what price you charge.
Okay, and that's how PricingProphets.com works?
PricingProphets.com is a crowdsourcing website, so it's an online pricing advisory service using a panel of global pricing experts from around the world. It's a 2-step process to register, complete a log-on and a business profile, and that allows companies to run a project. They answer a series of questions, and we review the completeness of those questions and then send it out to the most relevant experts to answer 3 questions. What price does this company charge? What's the rationale for that price point? And then any other advice they want to give. We review those responses for completeness as well, and then invite the client to come back and see what the experts have said about their product and service. And again, it is value-based, so we don't ask about costs and things like that.
Yeah, so how do you judge the success of that in terms of the advice you offer? How are you kind of evaluating what you're doing, whether you're actually getting that pricing exactly right?
The icing on the cake, I guess, for us is that companies actually launch their products using our prices.
Okay,
so we've got a company launching a concourse golf buggy next month at exactly the price point we recommended, and we've got a couple of ladies in Melbourne that run a storytelling business who are offering their product as an online course, and they're launching in a couple of weeks with exactly the price point we recommended.
So you're targeting kind of startups, entrepreneurial type businesses?
They're definitely our early adopters, but our experts have got experience across 40 to 50 industries, and pricing is transferable from one industry to another. So we can cover a wide range of industries. We steer clear of pricing real estate, commodities, shares, things like that. But generally we can cover everything.
Perfect. Jon Manning, thank you so much. Very interesting. Appreciate it. From PricingProphets.com. Well, Apple and Foxconn have agreed to tackle violations of conditions among the 1.2 million workers assembling iPhones and iPads. This is a landmark decision and could change the way Western companies do business in China. Arnold Gay has the report.
The Fair Labor Association says the reforms put forward by Apple and Foxconn raise the bar to a level that everyone else will have to meet. The FLA chief says others will be forced to match the Apple-Foxconn accord or lose workers.
Given that Foxconn and Apple have now decided to raise the bar and rather dramatically improve conditions for workers, other factories are going to start losing workers. Workers are going to choose to go and work at Foxconn. You work less and you get the same money, and you get time to spend it. So other factories will have to raise their offer in order to be able to attract and retain workers. So in that sense, we're going to see this ripple through the entire electronic sector, and Apple and Foxconn will set the bar that everyone else will have to meet.
In a landmark development for the way Western companies do business in China, Apple and Foxconn say they will improve working conditions for Chinese workers. Measures include reducing working hours to 49 hours per week without pay cuts and hiring tens of thousands more to maintain production levels. Safety protocols, housing and other worker amenities will also be improved. The accord came after an extensive Apple-sanctioned probe by the FLA into working conditions at the Apple supplier. And here it insists multiple violations of labor law, including extreme hours and unpaid overtime, were found across the 3 Foxconn factories and 35,000 workers surveyed by the association.
We found about 50 findings. Some of these are violations of the Apple Code and the FLA Code of Conduct. Some of them are violations of the labor law. And some are just areas of weakness. They're gaps in the management systems which represent a risk of a non-compliance.
The Apple-Foxconn agreement will likely raise costs for other manufacturers who contract with a Taiwanese company, including HP, Amazon, Motorola, Nokia and Sony. It could also result in higher prices for consumers, though the impact will be limited because labor costs are only a small fraction of the total for most high-tech devices. But other manufacturers like apparel makers and toy companies, where labor costs contribute a bigger fraction, will face higher expenses. Experts say even before the reforms, working conditions at Foxconn's factories are superior to many other Chinese manufacturers that supply Western companies.
Well, imagination is one of Australia's most underrated business assets. This is according to new research from Canon Australia. Produced in conjunction with the University of New South Wales, the report finds that imagination isn't ranked very highly by either employees or business, yet is fundamentally linked to higher earnings and higher revenue.